it's me again. I'm back. How you doing? I am back with the week 3 progress update on 100 Days of Drawing Comics Challenge. Very time consuming, but it's not like a whole mission, I guess, because I draw a lot anyway. But the hardest part is definitely just getting up and having the feeling that you have to start it or you're gonna fail. So after you get past the big jump to start it, which is probably the hardest for everybody, or most people at least, maybe say 10 minutes, 6 minutes, super easy just to start it, get off the bat. And then when you really get into it, try and go till 30. I've done at least 3 recordings of the one sitting because I had to go up to use the bathroom, or my dog needed me, something came up, and I would just transition it. But I am back to talk about some tips this time. Yes, I did my research and I made a list because I'm socially awkward and I don't know what to say. So first to start off with is taking less time drawing on the sketch. Now, everybody does a quick sketch before they draw something out. They have an idea of how they want it to go in their head, but nobody sees the sketch layer. Unless it's your art style, then kudos to you. But in my preference, I don't like showing a sketch layer. I don't really show my doodles very often. Sometimes I'll show a couple whips, but I don't really show my process of me just straight doodling or the panels before I fix the storyboard. If you guys don't know this about my series, I like to doodle the storyboards in a compost notebook, like a pen and paper, and then I go over it digitally. Some comic creators actually do, they could do digital, and then they could do a pencil and then just put it in an app where it just looks digital. I think it's cool. Or some can just do pencil and just color that in general. Either way, it looks cool. Taking less time in drawing could be airbrushing. You don't have to color. Most artists color, but most manga artists don't color. Or the Western style manga colors, but it's really a preference thing. Also, a big tip would be don't zoom in very often, because I get caught up when I zoom in, and then after spending 3 hours on the little details in the background or the face, outfit, you zoom out and then you realize you barely did anything. Focus on the big picture at first, and then when you have extra time, you can go back in. Focus on what you want the readers to pay attention to the most, or the first thing you want them to see. And the better the big picture looks, the better you'll feel about finishing the page. Almost always, quality is way better than quantity. You wouldn't want to just bust your butt working on thousands of these pages just to get it out in a week. I have no idea how original creators do it. I'm sure original creators have a crew for this, but most canvas creators do not. We improvise. But I read a lot of webtoon series where they just focus on getting more episodes out that are very short, and kudos to them, because I've seen some that came out around the same month that I did last year, and they have 38 episodes out. But their episodes are also 15 panels long. I'm trying to get mine more to 30 panels long, like I did the first 3 episodes. I've been cutting it between 25, and same goes for quantity. If you spend all this time busting your butt out and you've only done one really good panel, you kind of just have to pick your poison. It would be better if you learn how to manage your time wiser. Maybe put all your details in the big panel first, and then with whatever energy is left, you can go to work on the smaller panels that are less important. Save the small details, which is kind of a point that I made in the last tip. You don't need to focus on zooming in that much. I know I zoom in a bit, but I would not recommend zooming in a lot. It sucks because I'm a perfectionist, and if I miss a detail, or sometimes I only notice the mistakes while I'm coloring. So it would obviously be a lot easier on yourself or your team members or everybody you're working with in general if you don't have a super perfect detailed piece. You're going to be doing multiple pages, and it's okay. My point is, in the end, just don't waste your time on the small details if nobody's going to even pay attention to it. People read the comics in 5 minutes. They just scroll almost instantly, and most people don't really pay attention to the art style. Feel free to use your tools. They're there to help you. Doesn't matter what program you use. Between Clip Studio Paint, IBS Paint, Procreate, almost all of them has some form of tools that you can use between different brushes, or like liquefy, multiply, layers that you can add, special effects, clipping mask, anything that you can use to your advantage, do it. Be smart about it. There's no shame in using a custom-made brush that you made or you bought. You do what you gotta do. If it makes your comic go by faster, power to you. Hell yeah, do it. Anything that'll make it go by faster is worth it. It is not cheating using what the program gives you. There is a leaf brush, for example, there's a leaf brush in Procreate that I use all the time. I use it for the trees, I use it for the shadows over the characters and blur it a little bit, give it an illusion that it's like kind of far away, like softer instead of being super hard. You could multiply the layer, put the opacity down a little bit, perfect shadow. Maybe even give it a tint of blue because shadows are more on the blue side. It's all up to your art preference. Have reasonable deadlines. Now I know this sounds like common sense and you'd think to obviously do that. So as an example, a reasonable deadline would be, it would first depend on what you're doing, but let's say for your comic, you fully illustrate everything, you work on it alone, you don't have a team, you have school and work on the side, and this is just kind of a hobby right now. How much time would you really have for this comic, even though it's what you love to do? Well, for example, that was kind of my life story. Welcome to the club. But the reasonable time I gave myself was a month an episode, but just recently I'm getting more burnout and school's gonna start again. I've had to take extra shifts, I'm thinking about switching jobs, and I've, just been having a little bit of a rougher time with family stuff. But I've just decided to continue the story, just give myself a longer deadline, maybe a little bit of a break, a minute to take some fresh air in, So now I do my episodes in 2 months instead of 1 month. It's definitely a lot less stressful because I obviously put this deadline on myself, but I know that it's 100% doable if I did it in 1 month. It gives me room to breathe, and it feels so amazing when I finally get to click the publish button. It actually makes me really happy knowing that I have people wanting to read the next episode and asking me when it's coming out. I don't know, it makes me all cheesy, guys. Moving on to the next tip. If you are doing a traditional comic style, you could start off with 1 page a week, or if you were going more digital comic style, you could start off with 15 to 20 panels a month. It's not that bad. Very easy to do. Obviously, depending on your workflow and what you can do, if you have time for it, if you have burnout, that makes it 10 times harder, but that's where the appreciation folder comes in. I had burnt out a couple days ago and it just sucked. I didn't even want to get up out of bed to pick up a drawing tablet. I don't want to look at my tablet, and burnt out really gets you down. Taking a look at that appreciation folder just brings a smile to your face and you feel more motivated after a little while. Thankfully, I woke up the next day feeling super motivated and I drew a little longer than last time. And do what works for you, That's how it worked for me. As you progress, you can find more time to fit in your hobby, and you could do more panels a week or more panels a month, and it's a win-win for everybody. Moving on to the next tip. Don't get stuck on fixing the old panels. I've seen original creators who, once they've made it to the originals, they decide to go back to their canvas and redraw their series from start, but they get stuck on redrawing those first couple chapters for weeks and months even. And it's to where the series doesn't progress. Everybody's seen what already happens and they want to know what happens next, but they're just stuck on fixing the broken anatomy, or the speech bubble doesn't look right, the color schemes are off, or that sentence didn't fit right, that's not in the timeline. You don't want to just go back and get stuck on it. It's nice to fix it once in a while and realize how much you've grown, and you get nostalgic, oh wow, I can't believe that was me a while back. But you just have to remember to keep moving forward. Don't get stuck in the past. I've actually seen this sentence a lot, so I thought I'd throw it in here. I want to draw a comic, but I don't know where to start. I'm not an expert, but what research I've done could fully depend on your preference or your genre of the series. Say it's an sci-fi action thriller and they're doing a bank heist, and there's floating police cars chasing them down. They've got like jet boots, weapons, shots fired everywhere. Something super chaotic just to jump right into it. That's what I did with mine. I jumped into some kind of action scene. A building blew up and everything calmed down a little bit, and my leading lady was starting to explain things a little, kind of. Can't spoil it too much. It was kind of giving off a Cusco vibe to me. For example, it's about this little farmer girl, and she's trying to run away from her family. She wants to go live in the big city. It starts off with maybe this little girl doing her daily routine, very warm colors, summer vibe. And then once she starts to like run away, it gets very rainy, dark, goes into a forest, changing of tone and setting, maybe add a little bit of music if you can, sound effects. It shows that the story is progressing, and every story has to have a conflict. The beginning, the rising action, the climax, the falling action, and the resolution. So you just want to have that feeling that, oh, this is where we're starting. We're being for real now. Okay, let's get into it. Early on if you can, but make sure it's understandable for the reader. They have to know what's going on. If you confuse them too much at first or start with huge lore, nobody's gonna want to sit through that. The next and final tip of today's video is sad or happy ending. I've actually gone on a huge struggle because when I was writing Starlight, I have most of the series down except for the ending. I have two ways the series could go. I could go the happy ending, or I could go the sad ending. And I really didn't know which one to pick until recently. I won't give away which ending I picked because I don't want to spoil you guys. I want it to be a surprise. But I think I made the right choice. So let's get into detail about which is which. A happy ending leaves you feel warm and fuzzy inside, or maybe if it's not like too cliche, but it kind of makes you feel good. Maybe brings a smile to your face, like, oh, that was really sweet, or that was nice, or I really hoped it would have ended that way. Not always like a fairy tale, but fairy tales do bring a nice sense of hope in the world. And then the sad ending, it's more of a haunts you ending. It leaves you lying awake at night thinking about it, wondering if the series just ends like that, if it's gonna come back, why they would do that. But it also gives you a sense of reminding you of real life, that not every story has a happy ending, and sometimes it's even better to have a sad ending than a happy one. It's not always necessary to have a happy ending like a fairy tale, because life's not a fairy tale. You get what I mean? Then again, it also could make your series start to hate you and your series because of the sad ending. If readers don't like the ending, they could start leaving, or they could really like the ending, or they would want to see more of you. I mean, you can't make everybody happy, but you should really think about your end. You could have everyone leaving feeling super warm and happy with the ending that you chose, or you could have them leaving some form of sadness or getting lost in thought, thinking about it, haunting them. Really up to you and your series, whatever works best with you. I really like how I ended mine. I hope this advice helps in some way, shape, or form. This is gonna take a long time to edit, and I hope it comes out on the same day. But if not, sorry about that, guys. I'm still working on the 100 Days of Drawing Comics challenge, even if I forget to hit the record button by accident, or if the editing takes too long and I don't have time so it comes out the next day. I'm still drawing. And if I don't fit it into this video or the previous one, I'll show it in the next video. Promise. Okay, but this is, again, a very long recording, and it's gonna take a while to edit, and I have stuff to do today. So, farewell, my stars. I will see you next week in the next video with hopefully some more better tips, and I'll do more research this time. Bye bye.